How's everybody doing? We're going to do a video on these guys right here. So these are from like my last 2 or 3 trips. These are the DOAs that just get worn out, can't really use them anymore. The hook, you know, once you end up like this, that bait just rolls and it's not any good. It just kind of gets all nice and pulled down on the hook like that. These tops, they rip, you know, from the hook going back and forth in them. So I don't throw these out. I actually keep them. I throw them in the bottom of the boat pretty much. Now that's a good one. I threw that one in the bottom of the boat for some reason. Anyways, I don't throw them out. I keep them because I recycle them. You can rig them different ways, even if they're tore up like this. So you can get a lot of uses out of them, okay? One of the first things you can do is if you have one that's not too terribly tore up like this one, this one's just a little bit torn right up here, which is really common. You can take some super glue and you can dab it right there on that shank of that hook. You can do that, and I like to come up to the nose and put some right up here on the nose too, and you pull that back down in there before it dries all the way. All right, and then you let it dry. If you cast it, you know, real quick before it's dried, the super glue gets kind of mushy and it won't hold as good. So you can do that. This will get you 2 or 3 more fish. Really depends on how much the fish is fighting. If you catch a redfish on this, the bait's going to be ruined after that. So then, but you still get an extra fish out of it, you know. So instead of just throwing it out, I know that's one complaint people have is these DOAs just don't last that long. But there's lots of different ways to rig it. All right, so that's one way to fix one. All right, the next way is to use a treble hook. You want a pretty big size treble hook. You don't want it too terribly big and you don't want it too terribly small. So I don't really know what size this is, but just for reference, I mean, that's the tip of my finger there, and it just kind of, you know, it just covers up pretty much the tip of my finger. You don't want to go too terribly big because if you're fishing around grass or structure, rocks, snags, whatever it is, it'll get hung up. So best thing to do is, I've used braid right here. I don't normally use braid whenever I'm doing this. I use most of the time fluorocarbon whenever I'm fishing a DOA. But you run it through the nose. You run the line through the nose first, and then there's a channel that runs all the way to the back of this bait, okay? It sits right above where the sinker is. You take that line and you thread it through there. You come out of that little hole right there. I don't know if you can see the second channel there, but you run it out through there. You take your hook and you get some cutters right here, and you get the one that's pointing down. Okay, you have 2 that are pointing up, 2 points that are pointing up, and you got one. It's like the welded. It's the welded one right here. You take that one and you cut it off, and you cut it off real close. Okay, like you want it as close as you can get it. You want to cut that off. Okay. Wear eye protection because these do shoot off. Okay, I'm gonna cover it up. There we go. I cut that one barb off. We'll tie it onto our line. Okay, so we've tied it on. All you got to do, just pull your DOA down, and you want to snug. You just kind of want to push this hook into that channel. just like that. Okay, now if you look at this bait from the top, you still got some gap there, so you won't miss too many fish. It will hang on stuff if you're using it in heavy cover, but I mean, I've used this before whenever I've run out of DOAs, you know, in the boat, fresh ones, and I've done this. I catch a lot of fish. Your hookup ratio is actually really good with this bait like this, okay? The only problem is, after you use it a while like this bottom part right here will start to cut into this channel, okay? So, but you get quite a few more uses. You get quite a few more uses out of this bait by doing this, okay? You could probably catch another 5 to 10 fish easy using it like this, okay? I really like this. This was shown to me back whenever I was like 15 or 16, and I've utilized this ever since. Really good way to recycle some of your baits, okay? The next thing that we got, I've seen some videos on this already. So this is basically a 3/0 flipping hook, and different brands have different size hooks, so you might want to play around with the sizes. I think a 2/0 would probably be better. I don't have any 2/0 flipping hooks, freshwater flipping hooks. So you run this in there, and it's got the little keepers in there on the tip of it, and it just kind of digs into the plastic. Now, I feel like if you do catch a couple fish on that, it is going to rip out, but hey, you still get a couple more uses out of that bait like that, okay? A little bit bigger hook, got a little bit bigger gap up here, so in theory, your hookup should be a little bit better. All right. And then the last way that I have is I've got this jig head here. This is a death grip jig head, and the hooks and the little keeper on here is the perfect size for a DOA. All right. You just take it, you run it through your nose, and you follow the channel all the way back to where your original hook point comes out on these baits, okay? I like to push it nice and firm right through there. Hold it pretty close to the nose because those little grippers will take it and scrunch it up. So you want to hold it nice and close there, and look at that. That is absolutely almost perfect. It doesn't bunch the bait up or straighten it out like this. This one still has the natural curve to it. This one, with the way that hook is, it's a little bit bigger than the original. It kind of makes that tail a little bit straighten out, and it makes it kind of dip. Now this, with the jig head, it will make it nose heavy, but I've got this is an 1/8 ounce, I believe, jig head on here, and if you keep your line fairly tight, you know, like a steady retrieve type deal, this will, it doesn't nose down, it actually stays pretty flat. So if you're fishing for pretty active fish, this is a good way to go. And this is the last thing that I do with my DOAs as far as the last use out of them. But this jig head right here keeps that bait on and secure really, really well. So you can catch a lot of fish with this. Most of the time, it's not even going to tear up in the nose. It'll tear up from the fish, you know, flopping their head, and this plastic actually tears down here where the base of this hook is. So it actually tears down in there. So, but that's the way that I keep fishing DOAs, and that's the reason why I don't really ever throw them out. Now after this point right here, you can throw them out, because after you're done fishing with them with the jig head, it's pretty much over with after that. So I hope these tips help you. I know they've helped me a lot. They've helped me save a lot of money, because DOAs are not the cheapest baits, but you know, reusing them like this and catching more fish out of them has really helped me. Thank you for watching.